Why do we want film emulation? I think that digital photography and cinematography have become established. They're just plain easier and they cost less as well. But if you want to simulate the closest thing to film stocks in Final Cut Pro, there's finally one option that allows you to do that well: Dehancer Pro. But why is film so popular now? I think that there are times when digital footage coming out of your Sony camera or your Canon camera or whatever mirrorless camera you have, they're also good now. They just look too perfect, too sharp, or too sterile. And that's why today many filmmakers, for the sake of nostalgia, for the sake of aesthetics, or any other reason, they aim for their work to look like film. And since its earlier days, there was a trend to try and replicate the look of certain color film stocks, Velvia being, I think, the most common then, and then Fuji, Kodak, and many more. You see, there were actions and recipes available for creating the look of different film stocks. These recipes have become popular again among creators in the past 4 years, with the wokeness to attain something cinematic. Especially the Kodak 2383 film stock, because it's been used in a lot of recent Hollywood films for the most part. Film emulation has become popular due to four main reasons, I think. One is the versatility of the multiple and countless film stocks that you can use on a single digital image. Two is the emulation recipes. They have gotten way more accurate now than ever than before. They're pretty close. Three, emulating film allows you to capture a different look. It helps you craft a look, which is, I guess, the uniqueness that a lot of people are looking for. And then four, I think it's the feeling of nostalgia, the feeling of working on something that feels special, that feels emotionally connected to you. Because a lot of us watched films while growing up, and most of those movies were shot on film. There are several emulation plugins currently in the market, like Dehancer, Filmbox, Film Convert, Sapphire plugins, and I think Koji Advanced is what it's called. But most of these things are made for DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro, and maybe just one or two for Final Cut. Now, I still very much prefer to edit in Final Cut Pro due to its ease, its efficiency, its speed, and most importantly, its reliability, which is why I was happy when Dehancer finally announced support for using Final Cut Pro 10. But you might ask, why Dehancer? Why? For me, grain is the most intriguing part of film videography, which is also the most daunting for any film emulation plugin. The reason is because traditional grain has a more organic look than digital noise, and none of the plugins or grain overlays have that same organic look. However, I do find that the grain effect in Dehancer is quite okay. It's not great, but it's very okay. It's perhaps the best I've used so far, and the answer talks in detail about their grain simulation on their websites. There are also lots of built-in stills and senior film stock profiles that are a great starting place for building a look. Now, being able to have all of that in Final Cut Pro without having a round trip to DaVinci Resolve, it saves me a lot of time, and time is money. It also takes what you can attain inside of Final Cut Pro to takes it up a notch in terms of crafting a visual that you have up there in your mind, I think. Film photography and videography has a romanticism associated with it that, if I'm being honest, I only partially understand. There's nothing romantic about stained fingers, being cooped up in a small room with unpleasant smells, craning my neck to try and use a grain finder, but that's just me. But at the same time, I love the look of film, whether it's real film or high quality digital film emulation. I think if you want the best of both worlds, there are options like Dehancer and the others that I've mentioned before that will make wonderful traditional film-like images from digital files, whether it's your Sony, your Canon, or whatever. Now, even though there's a difference in the rendition of a video shot on 35 or 16mm film, the average audience might not notice such fine details when you put them side by side with a digital file that has one of Dehancer's film emulation in it. This, of course, is completely subjective, and I would never argue that film is better than digital for all purposes. At the end of the day, digital is not film. Film is not digital. We can embrace one or the other, or both. And this is one instance where we cannot have our cake and eat it back. Nor should we want to, but I mean, maybe a little. Having the answer that I like in Final Cut Pro and being able to convert the look and feel of a digital file into a more pleasing and cinematic film-like result is very good. It's very good for me as a creative, as an artist, and as a film enthusiast. I guess the question is, am I a film purist